Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. Welcome to tonight's Bluejay Family Live panel, Resetting for Spring, Academic and Financial Strategies. My name is Allison Moore, and I'm Assistant Director in the Office of Student and Family Support at Creighton University. And just to tell you a little bit about tonight's live panel, the panel will be 1 hour, and we will be recording. So if you need to go back, if you've missed any information, or if you want to share it with other family or friends after, we will be posting this recording in our Bluejay Family portal after the live panel. Tonight, I'm going to take some time to introduce our panelists. We will when they're finished, we'll have live questions from the audience. So what we want to do is make sure that you're each able to ask those questions. So we want to test out the chat feature before we get started. So if you see the chat button, if you can press the chat button and let us know where you're tuning in from.
And it might be the Q&A button because
I'm
I
sorry,
disabled the chat at the
it,
beginning.
it is the Q&A button. Thank you. And I'm not seeing the Q&A button.
And I'll jump in. Oh, there it is in the bottom of your screen. It says Q&A. If you take
got it. Yes.
There you go.
So we have someone tuning in from Texas, Iowa. We've got Colorado. Great. So we do know that the Q&A function is working. Wonderful. I will share with you all that this is my first time hosting a live panel all by myself. So we may have a couple bumps in the road, but please bear with me. I'm trying my very best. So just to tell you a little bit about how your student and your family can engage with the Office of Student and Family Support, we want you to be involved by checking our Bluejay Family newsletter that actually came out today, by participating in Bluejay Family live panels like the one you're participating in tonight, by actively engaging in the Bluejay Family portal, and you can actually sort of customize your portal to get the information that's most important to you and your family or your student. And also by following us on our social media. So you can follow us on Instagram, X, and Facebook. And then, of course, if you have any questions or need some support, you can reach out to us by emailing family@creighton.edu or by calling our office at 402-280-1212. And an easy way to remember that phone number, we like to say, if you don't know what to do, dial 1212 and you can reach the Success Center, and we'll be able to answer your questions or get you to someone that can help or answer your questions. I'd also like to recognize tonight our Golden Go Jay Bluejay family sponsors, Cobalt Credit Union, Avier Financial Management, and Creighton Dining. So the purpose of tonight's Bluejay Family Live panel is resetting for spring. So we're going to talk a little bit about what to do, how you can support your student if maybe the fall semester didn't quite go the way they had planned. So we're going to discuss academic support, we're going to discuss scholarships and financial aid, and then at the end we'll have an opportunity for you to ask your questions and get those answered. So tonight we have a couple different panelists. Before I begin, I want to mention Dr. Christy Fedden, who's Director of the Office of Academic Success. We have Tanya Plater, who's Associate Director of the Office of Academic Success. We have Becca Meyer, who's Assistant Director in the Office of Academic Success. Lots of academic success people tonight. And also Mr. Jeremy Graney, who's Assistant Director in the Office of Academic Success. And we're also joined by Janet Solberg, who's Assistant Vice Provost of Student Financial Services and Director of Financial Aid. So we're going to kick it off by starting with Dr. Christy Fedden, Director in the Office of Academic Success. Welcome, Christy.
Thank you, Allison, and welcome everyone who's joining us live tonight, and also those of you who are viewing this at a later date. We're really excited to have you here. And what we want to start with tonight is just that understanding. I have a quote on here from the illustrious and infamous Mr. T. To have a comeback, you have to have a setback. So that's why we're here tonight. We know that in our work in the Office of Academic Success, and certainly in our Creighton-wide community, an academic setback is not the end of the story. We know that, we adhere to that, and that's why we're here to visit and talk about some of those resources and supports. So an academic success or an academic setback is not the end of the story. It's often that moment when students experience growth. And so we really want to talk tonight about how parents can help students move forward with confidence. We're going to outline some of those resources that can help students move forward with confidence and really build that skill and that confidence again academically. So on the next slide, I'm going to start with a really quick and easy way to access some of those resources. And this is on the Academic Success website. So if you are on Creighton's website, you can really easily just Google or search for academic success. That's going to pull this right up. And on this site, you will find a lot of really, really great resources. I'm not going to focus on tutoring or some of the success hubs or those things because my wonderful colleagues are going to be sharing about that here in a minute. But you can see that we have academic tips and resources, some study support, information about different programs that are available through the Office of Academic Success. So this is a great way, even before you come back to campus next week, to start to look at some of the ways that we can support students. And on the next slide, we want to really highlight that first step to a comeback. So parents and students, one thing that you can really do, whether this is together or students, as you're really reflecting on why you feel like you need to maybe reset and have a bit of that academic comeback this upcoming semester, the first thing you want to do is to reflect back. So what got in the way? What were some of the barriers that really kept you from achieving those goals? And you can see here on the screen that some of these key factors are asking yourself, did I really attend class consistently? Was I there? Was I present? Did I focus? Or was I constantly drifting off during class? Did I have really good ways that I could study? Did I take good notes? Was I completing my assignments? Could I complete my assignments with the notes that I took during class? And one of the big things is, did you have a weekly schedule? I have met with lots of students and they really wait. It's kind of like whatever moves them on that particular day when they set up that dedicated study time. So that's something to really ask yourself. Did you have a consistent schedule? Were you a procrastinator? Did you perform well on exams or were there some barriers there? So by reflecting on these types of questions and really starting with looking back at last semester, those are the beginning steps to where we can start to really hone in on the types of support that would be most beneficial for you and help you achieve your goals. So on the next slide, you're going to see a wonderful graphic. And if you wouldn't mind clicking again, Allison. So we offer support. So myself, as the director of the Office of Academic Success, and my amazing team and colleagues that you're going to meet here in a minute, we all serve as academic coaches. So we can provide academic coaching. We can also provide academic support. So I want to start there. And I really like this visual of the iceberg. I know we use this quite a bit for lots of different things, but it really illustrates the fact that some of those really tangible and visible pieces, such as looking at study strategies for a test, developing that weekly schedule. Those are some pretty concrete and pretty prevalent factors that a lot of students are dealing with. So that would be appropriate to access academic support. And again, you're going to hear in a minute about what those supports look like. But if you wouldn't mind clicking again, Allison, this next tab, this is really for those things that maybe are kind of under the surface and less visible. So we have factors such as I mentioned procrastination. communication, motivation, time management, confidence, executive function skills. So that ability to really organize your thoughts, to really stay focused and to identify what's important versus what's less important. Those are all skills that are less visible. We can support that and provide some strategies and work with you through academic coaching. So this is a service that is available as part of your Creighton experience, and we are super excited to share a little bit more about that this evening. So I'll turn it back over to Allison to move us to the next slide.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce our next panelist, Tanya Plater, Associate Director of the Office of Academic Success. Welcome, Tanya.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me? Yes. Okay. So what I'm going to really focus on is our success hubs and how that plays a part in academic support. You can go ahead and. So there are a few areas of support that we can do. We can do quiet study, semester planning, academic coaching, accountability hours, or even drop-in help. This would include students who are at the last minute, they're trying to finish that paper, they're trying to get academic help, or they're trying to get like study space where they can sit down and actually concentrate. That happens after hours, 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock in our hubs, which are well located within all of the first year hubs or first year halls. I'll do the next one. So how would your student be able to access this? So in Degelman, we have a student worker, graduate student worker who is Jazz Carr. She is amazing. She works there on Thursday afternoons or Thursday evenings. In Graves, you'll have Jeremy Graney, who is on this panel with us later on today, along with his graduate student worker, David Henderson. So during the day, our professional staff actually staff the hubs, and then our graduate student workers come in and help us in the evening for like drop-in hours. In McGloin, I staff that hub from 8 to 4:30, and then Dalton, my graduate student worker, comes in around 5 o'clock and takes over. And then Becca is in Swanson, and Jazz also does Swanson for us because she is, like I said, really fantastic. So if you want to take a picture of this, this is our hub hours, so students can know when they are going to have people there. And then we'll also be publishing this for our students starting next week. You can go to the next one. So the semester startup is something that we have done every semester. This is just to kind of give your student a leg up in preparing for the semester and getting ready and getting organized. So we do schedules, we give out some free highlighters, erasable highlighters. They are actually something that students actually enjoy. We do semester at a glance calendars, and then we also do syllabi matrix, so then they can really look at their syllabus and for every one of their classes have it on one sheet so they know exactly what is needed for each class, and then they can have one thing to look at rather than trying to find every syllabus every time they're looking for an answer. On here is, if you want to take a picture of this too, this is for our semester startup this semester. It'll be January 20th through February 13th, and it'll be in all of these areas. And also, if a student wants to talk to one of us academic coaches, they can just make an appointment with us or stop into our hub when we're there. And then I have one, nope, that's it.
Thank you, Tanya, for sharing information about the hubs. It's really great that students have that opportunity to get the academic support right where they live. That's so convenient. Next, I'd like to introduce our next panelist, Becca Meyer, Assistant Director in the Office of Academic Success. Hi, Becca, welcome.
Hello, and a special aloha. Think I saw somebody from Hawaii tuning in from 4 p.m. Just got off the phone with my parents too, so thank you all for coming tonight, no matter which time zone you're from. So I get the awesome privilege to work with students a lot in the tutoring capacity, as well as with our over now 130 tutors. We just hired 30 more tutors for this semester to meet the growing need of our students. And with that said, tutoring for this semester will begin on January 20th. But the schedule for students to be able to view, plan ahead, find their favorite tutor, and see what tutoring resources are available for their classes is already going to be available on Friday, January 16th. And I just put this screenshot of our academic success website because one of the most often overlooked parts of our website is seeing the list of over 100 subject areas that we support for our undergraduate students. So on the website that Christy mentioned earlier, you'll see the tutoring tab at the top because it's everyone's favorite. And then right under that is the banner that says our available services and courses. And that includes 4 different types of peer-led support. Yes, all of our tutoring comes from our very high achieving students, some of which who used tutoring before becoming a tutor and now contribute to our very big team of 100 plus tutors. So we have one-on-one tutoring, drop-in tutoring, attached, and supplemental instruction for our College of Nursing students. And for more information on what each of those services look like and for which courses they're available for, you can visit our website currently, and we have descriptions for all of those as well. You can go ahead to the next slide. And so, what I do want to bring attention to is some changes that we made this semester to, again, accommodate for the growing demand for tutoring, which is always a great thing to hear. My team actually doesn't know this yet, but I finished running the numbers for the fall 2025 tutoring semester. And I'll give you all some context. Typically, we hit anywhere between 3,000 to 4,000 tutoring sessions a semester. Well, our tutors and students blew it out of the water last semester, and we recorded 7,354 tutoring sessions. And
Wow.
we've also broken the thousands with unique students served. So that means 85% of students who used tutoring services at least once came back and used it again. So even if your student or you students have not used it yet this year, it is not too late to become one of those students, a part of that great statistic. And so, in an effort to meet this, we are moving and we are trying to accommodate as much tutoring services across campus, which includes our College of Business courses, which we are going to be moving scheduled tutoring sessions to the Career Center, a place where a lot of our College of Business students already are. So, that's making their tutoring appointments more accessible. And then also drawing attention to the other tutoring supports that are around campus. And although are not staffed by the Office of Academic Success, are a great resource nonetheless, including the Club Spanish, who does drop-in Spanish tutoring once a week, as well as any sororities or fraternities academic programs that your student may be a part of. And then lastly, I'm sure a lot of students are interested in becoming a tutor for the Office of Academic Success. And with the demonstrated need for tutoring, definitely encourage your students or students, if you're feeling up to it, to apply for any open tutoring position that will be posted at the end of the semester around May and June to become a part of our big team. Thank you.
Becca, congratulations to you and your team of tutors and the whole academic success team. Over 7,000 tutoring appointments that's amazing. And that shows students really wanting to succeed. So that's great news. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Jeremy Graney. Jeremy's Assistant Director in the Office of Academic Success. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you, and welcome everyone. So we've heard all our supports we offer in our Office of Academic Success and kind of the work that we do as coaches, our graduate student workers, how we're really here to accompany your students along their academic journey. Outside of that classroom, how can we help them be the version of themselves they're working to be and grow those skills and those abilities as they move on? And sometimes that's hard work as they try to build out those skills and need some additional supports in there, or they're not quite getting the grade that they were hoping for. So I'm going to talk a little bit about navigating some of these academic actions that may happen as we move into each semester. So I kind of like to group students into 3 kind of areas as they move in. And that first area is kind of general prevention, kind of like health. like I do things preventatively because I want to maintain my health and my teeth and all of those things, or I want to build in, a new hobby in my life. So that prevention is, we just want to continue on our journey. And there's a group of students that they're doing well. They're happy with their grades. They're moving through their academic plan, but they want to be more efficient, or as they're getting more comfortable on campus, they want to add more to their plate. I want to get involved in clubs. I want to rush. I'm looking to add some service components. So I'm want to build into those skills or just talk through, how do I be more efficient with my time? And then another group in kind of that preventative place is, yes, I'm doing okay, but maybe they're not as happy with the grades that they received last semester. They're struggling in some grades that maybe the college says is okay, but if they're in a professional program, they need to, work a little. We need to build up those grades as we get ready to apply for professional schools. So I want to strengthen those skills as I go through that semester, and that's part of our work we do. How do we work with students that are moving along, but we want to strengthen or we want to find a better balance than what we've been having. When we talk about academic actions, these would be coming from each college at the end of each semester as they assess students' performance and whether or not some more interventions might be necessary. So, the first one would be our intervention programs where a student is struggling academically, their college has put them on academic probation. So a goal there is how do I get back into good academic standing? And our office implements the intervention programs for all students that are maybe in that place where we really take a whole person perspective of how do we build in and just support you a little more intentionally that semester so we can really unpack and get you back into that good space where you want to be. So if students are receiving any notice from their dean's office about being in the academic intervention program, that program is a supportive, a whole person academic care to help really navigate and diagnose and help with what they need to really get back into that footing. And then our last maybe action would happen if a student is performing at kind of a level where they're facing an academic dismissal and being dismissed from Creighton for academic reasons. And they are allowed one more semester to kind of really get back on track and move through. And they want to be here. That's why I call them retention. Like I want to stay. I want to be at Creighton. I want to finish my degree here. But I might just need some more individual and intensive help. So being in our recovery program to really help those students work through and just intensively build those skills so they build that resiliency. And I like to say, we build our confidence, our competence, and our comfort in being a student and being on our major degree. So our office works with all students. Some it's they come to us, and some we are introduced to them through their college to just help them in that semester. But we're really here to accompany our students for their whole academic journey, whether that's right next to them or providing them resources at key checkpoints as they move through their time at Creighton. So thanks.
Confidence, confidence, and comfort. I really like that, Jeremy. I'm gonna remember that one. That's really great. Um, we're gonna shift focus a little bit. We've talked about how you can support your students and how our Office of Academic Support will support them as they're trying to reset, refocus for spring semester. Now we'd like to shift gears and talk a little bit about financial aid and satisfactory academic progress. So I'd like to welcome Janet Solberg, Assistant Vice Provost of Student Financial Services and Director of Financial Aid. Thank you for joining us this evening, Janet.
Thank you, Allison, and welcome everyone. I'm going to talk a little bit about what could happen if a student is not successful academically. What would happen to their financial aid, not only with Title IV funding, but also with their scholarships. So the most important thing right now to know is that we review satisfactory academic progress once a year, and that is after spring semester. So now that fall has ended and we are just starting spring, there is still time for students to rehabilitate, as Jeremy talked about, and to get those grades into a position so that the students do not lose any type of scholarship or Title IV funding. When we look at satisfactory academic progress, we look at the cumulative hours and GPA for the student. So what that means is total. So we don't look semester by semester. We look at the cumulative progress that that student is making while they are enrolled at Creighton. So as I indicated, we do that at the end of each spring semester, and so it's done once a year. We look at three different things. Number one is we look at their GPA. At the end of their freshman year, they must be at a 1.75. And at the end of their sophomore year, they must maintain a 2.0 through graduation. We also look at their quantitative measure, which is their PACE. A student has to complete successfully 75% of their attempted classes. What does that mean? That means they must get a D or above in order to be successful. So any F's or W's that a student would receive goes into the calculation of them not meeting PACE. The other thing that we look at is that they have to complete their program within 150% of the semester hours for that intended degree program. So as an undergrad, that means you have to complete your undergraduate degree within 6 years, which here at Creighton, we usually don't have any issue in doing that. Let's move on to the next slide, because what's going to happen if you would happen or your student would happen to fail satisfactory academic progress? It is important to note that, as I indicated, this would include loans, grants, and any Creighton University scholarship eligibility would be suspended. However, I want you to know that there is a chance for you to appeal. So if we go to the next slide, I will explain to you what that appeal process looks like. What we will do is after spring grades have been posted, again, we look at that cumulative GPA and we look at the cumulative number of hours completed for the student's academic career. And if the student would fail either one of those PACE or the GPA requirement, we would send the student a letter explaining to them what needs to happen. That letter would come into to their Creighton email address. So I highly encourage students to continue to monitor their email over the summer, even though they may not be registered in any summer classes. What we will do in that letter is, again, line out what exactly that student needs to do. It's a two-part process. The first part is that they have to write an appeal letter to the financial aid committee. In that appeal letter, what they have to do is they have to explain why they were not educationally successful for up to this point, ways that they are going to do better in the future. And again, they can include any supporting documentation that would help to help that appeal letter to the financial aid committee. The second part of that is that they will need to meet with their academic advisor. With their academic advisor, they're going to complete an academic plan for that next term. This will allow for the student and their academic advisor just to really make sure that they have selected the best classes for them. They could be, repeat courses or classes that they withdrew from, things like that. So it's an opportunity for the student to work with their academic advisor and make sure that they are set up for success. Once both of those things are sent to the financial aid committee, we would then review that. And then at that point, the outcome is determined, and we will send a financial aid outcome letter to this appeal letter to the student and letting them know if their scholarships have been reinstated for them. I will say though, we want to work with the students. The first appeal, we will work with the student in order to make sure that they can maintain their scholarship and Title IV funding. However, if after that first appeal, if the student feeling satisfactory academic progress continues, at that point, that is really when the student is putting their eligibility into jeopardy. On the next slide is all of the different student financial services counselors that can help your student through this process or any other financial aid matters. Our counselors are separated by last name. So uh, go ahead and take a picture of this one, or I think the slides will be sent out. But this is a great resource if your student or you have any questions regarding the student's financial aid. All right, Allison, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. I appreciate that. I am going to switch our view here so we have all of our panelists on screen, and then we're going to get into our Q&A questions. So if anyone has any questions that you would like to ask regarding academic support for your student or how it's impacting financial aid, please feel free to use the Q&A function to ask those questions. I do have one question. I'm going to direct this to Dr. Fedden. What advice do you have for students who maybe feel embarrassed or anxious about asking for help?
I really love this question because I think that this impacts so many students. And the message that we like to send is really what I stated earlier is that, setbacks are just that. It's an event, it's a point in time, and it's an opportunity for growth. So maybe a small step. I really like if you're watching this and you're able to see all of us here on the panel, first of all. And I know you got to see us in other different capacity doing some presentations. Come in and talk with us. That's the first step is to really kind of break down that worry and we can help if for example if there were some issues with maybe getting into a pattern where maybe you weren't consistently going to class or needed to ask a professor a question and didn't know how to do that. Those are all things that we, the Office of Academic Success, can support you with. And Tanya had mentioned the success hubs, those graduate students that are there in the evenings. If you can't catch one of us, they can also help you. But I would say the number one key is reaching out, and we will do everything possible. We'll meet you at Starbucks and grab a cup of coffee. We will do whatever it takes to help you feel comfortable, so that we can start to connect and build that relationship and really listen to your story and going back to again identifying what really got in the way. So it's really just getting that connection, building that relationship, and just giving us an opportunity to connect.
Thank you, Dr. Fedden. The next question is for Tanya. Um, does the student get a copy of these slides with the important contacts?
I actually think that one is for Janet's, but I stole it because I
Okay.
wanted to talk to people, I guess. But Janet, if you could answer that question about the contact information, that's important.
Yes, we will be providing a copy of these slides. The other thing too is that if you have questions about your any of the contacts on here, they can find those on the website. Otherwise, contact us and we'd be happy to share that information as well.
Thank you. And the live panel will be posted on our Bluejay family portal, and also it's posted to our YouTube. And so I'm more than happy. If someone wants to reach out to me, I can send slides, I can send the information, and also the link where you can watch the live panel or share it with your student. The next question, I'll shoot this one to Jeremy, but if any of our academic folks would like to jump in, what should my student do if they're questioning their choice of a major after a tough semester?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's that first challenge when we have those difficult classes, it makes us question the reason, the why behind why we want to go there. And I think we have great resources on campus, starting with your advisor. To navigating that with your advisor. and what kind of classes you can maybe explore as you navigate that through. Our colleagues in the Career Center are great resources to kind of unpack different interests as you move into kind of looking at that desire. Because I think sometimes we match that what I thought the desire was is not necessarily in this field, but it's in a related area. So being able to connect with our friends in the Career Center, with your advisor, and just taking advantage of a lot of the opportunities. We do a lot, all the departments kind of host different things and just um, using our Common Core to explore different classes in different areas. So it's a natural thing for people to kind of think through and guess that, especially as we get into some more challenging kind of courses. So to really just, have those conversations with people, have those conversations with people that see that larger field and have seen students go through and have seen students change and how that goes. Because for us, for you, it's the only thing you've seen before. But so work with people here that have worked with many students as they navigate those different spaces.
Thanks, Jeremy. There's a question in the chat regarding scholarships. So this one's for Janet. Where can I find if merit scholarships have GPA requirements to maintain?
All right, thank you, Allison. Yes, so all merit scholarships do have GPA requirements. They would follow that 1.75 for the freshman GPA as well as the 2.0 for the sophomore GPA. So and that includes all merit scholarships and any need-based grants as well.
Thank you. And while we've got you on here, I've got one other question for you. Does withdrawing from a course, repeating a class, or getting a grade of incomplete impact financial aid?
It can, yes, Allison. So if you withdraw from a course, that is counted in that PACE attempted hours calculation that I talked about. The repeating has a positive effect on your GPA requirements or that calculation because it would replace the maybe a GPA grade that you got a lesser grade. And so I feel that, so that is a positive. If you get an I, based upon the definition of incomplete with our registrar's office, that means that you are actively working towards completing that class in a successful manner. So that actually is a positive. I guess it acts as a positive that you are going to be completing that incomplete class as a complete rather than, a withdrawal or a failing class.
Thank you for that great information, Janet. Dr. Fedden, question for you. Is it ever too late for a student to turn things around academically if they've had a rough semester or two?
My quick and short answer to that is no, if we're talking about a 1 or a 2 semester setback. The key is getting connected and really leveraging resources early and not letting that become a cumulative effect. So it's a lot harder the farther along that you go and the more semesters that you get under your, kind of accomplished and completed. If you continue to struggle and that accumulates, that can become more challenging with each semester to try to overcome. But one semester setback, even a couple of semesters, if there are some challenges, that's where Creighton is so blessed. We have amazing advisors who can visit with students and help map out a sequence of maybe retaking courses, looking at rebuilding a GPA and boosting that GPA. So we have such highly skilled advisors. We have an amazing team with our student success team as a whole, where we can come in and provide some of the supports and teach strategies. Because our whole goal, again, is that accompaniment with students. I think Jeremy had mentioned that earlier. We want want to make sure that we are building those skills, equipping students with skills so that you can then apply them semester after semester and see that cumulative growth. So my short answer to that is no, but we don't want those concerns to persist. And Allison, if I could hop in, I just wanted to give one more kind of a public service announcement backing up
Please.
to the question about the major, and kind of that discernment of what your area of interest is. We are having a major minor fair on March 18th, and that is going to be a really fantastic way to see what Creighton has to offer. And so again, we just really encourage students to get out there, to get to the major minor fair, to the career fair. All of those experiences can help students discern their interest, along with being in class and really kind of gauging what you're really excited about and what subjects, really kind of bring that intrigue and that inquiry. So that's part of the growth process at Creighton. So I wanted to throw that out there.
So let's see. Here's another question. It's academic related. So I'm going to kind of open it up to anybody. It's my daughter has been in contact with her advisor with her academic difficulties. Should she contact anyone else to make sure she's going to meet requirements to keep her scholarships?
I can take this one. I say reach out to anyone that you could possibly feel comfortable with reaching out to. I don't think it's horrible to reach out to multiple campus partners. Definitely any of us on this call from academic success, reach out to one of us. Whoever they're comfortable with. We need to have a conversation with her to make sure that she is doing things that will help her achieve the goals that she wants to. Another one would be that she needs to tell us what she needs to maintain her scholarship. So she needs to reach out to financial aid, make sure that if she's on any other, and it could be a major one. So if it's a major scholarship, you might want to reach out to the major advisor, find out if there's anything specific they need to do to maintain that scholarship. And if so, tell us what that is so that we can help you get to that area. We're not going to be directive in what we tell them to do. We will give them the resources that they need to achieve the goals that they want to achieve. We're not going to be able to make them do it themselves. They have to do it for themselves. So all of us, as Jeremy so adequately put, we want to accompany them in the journey. We don't want to drag them along on the journey. This is not our job, but we do want to empower them to be able to make the decisions and the choices that they need to make to stay on with their major.
So I kind of have a question for the entire panel. Everyone has shared a lot of great information and resources. How about if you could each share maybe one best piece of advice that you would have for students or family for a spring reset if fall semester didn't quite go the way they had hoped? Is there one kind of best piece of advice that you'd like to share? Becca, do you have something you'd like to share? I'll let you go first.
Yes, of course. I mean, my entire job, 90% of it is mostly tutoring. So I'm never going to stop talking about my amazing tutors and the wonderful team we have. And that is just to reach out and ask for help from anybody on campus. Because even if your student doesn't know who to go to, or if they don't know any of us, that's fine, but they could know the tutor that they've been working with consistently for the entire semester. And I train all of my tutors to know how to refer students, how to have those difficult conversations in if they're discerning a major change, if they're looking at what classes to take the next semester, although not to be in place of the advisor. Sometimes the information coming from a peer can be received a little bit better. So don't be afraid to ask anybody for help. I'm sure any student on Creighton's campus are willing to help each other, especially one of my tutors for my team. I will speak highly of them. Um, and if you haven't tried tutoring yet, just try it at least once. You don't even have to make an appointment for it. Just see what it's all about. And who knows, you could meet somebody in your same major that can help you along your path to becoming where they are.
I can hop in next. I think my one big piece, and I put this on the slide that in my section for this purpose, is that reflection. One of the biggest things is to really be able to reflect on what really were those key barriers, because that's really going to help you reset. You can't really reset if you don't know what the reset is. And sometimes you know very quickly, you're like, yeah, I really didn't study. I just kind of, studied the night before an exam. So maybe it comes to you really quickly. But if you're not really able to figure out, you're like, I thought I was doing everything right, that's really an indication that you might benefit from coming in and just hang out in one of our offices and just have a conversation. We can help you with that discernment. But that's my number one takeaway. You really need to look back and figure out what were those barriers. Otherwise, you're not really going to know where to kind of focus in on developing some new habits.
I can go
Anyone else?
next.
Okay,
Oh,
sure.
sorry.
No.
I know it sounds very daunting and very scary and can be disheartening to hear that that you could lose your financial aid and your scholarships. And I know that is, I hate to be that bearer of bad news, but it is also reality, right? But my advice is don't lose hope and know that we are here in the financial aid and we to help you, and we do partner with Student Success to make sure that the students do get all the resources they need. So don't if your student does get an appeal letter at the end of this spring semester, please don't see that as the end for them. See that as an opportunity to come back their next year and work hard to regain and pass satisfactory academic progress the next year. So have hope. I guess that's my advice. There is hope, and just make sure you communicate with the financial aid office as well as with student success.
I would like to add one more thing. My advice to students is to lean in for the resources. We talk about this in our academic probation seminar all the time on how we can really help you make the change that you need, but we need you to step forward with us and actually take the advice that we have for you to heart and actually use that reflective practice to see where you can actually apply it. And to be able to do that, then you have to actually lean into us and actually listen and be open to change and be open to our resources. So it may be very daunting to walk into one of our offices for the first time. It may be daunting to walk into the Success Hub for the first time. It may be daunting to walk into the Student Success Center. Whatever it may be, it is totally worth it once you cross the doorway. Once you have a conversation with one of us, and once we know what you really need and how we can help you, if we can't give you the resources in our office, we know the people who have those resources. I've worked at Creighton 23 years. I am guaranteed that I know so many people across campus, and we all come from wide variety of locations within Creighton's campus. Becca was an undergrad and worked her way up. She's totally knows this campus inside and out. If we don't know somebody, they don't exist. So we know that we can give you the resources that you need. You just have to actually ask for them and be open to meeting with us.
Thanks, Tanya.
Okay, I guess yeah. My 2 cents are I think sometimes when students have to ask for the first time, they maybe not have had to ask for help in high school. They equate asking as like I'm admitting failure, I'm admitting I can't do this, and we really want to change that mindset to asking is advocating. Like you are advocating for yourself to be your best self. And one way we can do that too, when classes start next week, use our resources when you don't need them. Just use it when you don't need it, because then when you get to a point where maybe tutoring would be helpful, or I do want to go to the hub and talk to a graduate student worker or talk to Jeremy, that the newness of figuring out how it works is gone. Because when you wait till the day or two before the test and you're trying to figure out how tutoring works and where do I go and how does it all work, you're just adding that additional stress. So use us when you don't need us, and then it's just part of your toolbox that you can bring in whenever you need.
We just had one more question pop in, and it looks like it is related to there's a scholarship piece. My student was advised to take one class short of a full load. She realized she could have taken the extra class and is concerned now that she may be one class short, requiring additional semester. Will we be able to get a credit for the extra class from her scholarships? So I think they're asking if the scholarship will cover the extra class.
So Paul, I'm going to I'll answer broadly, but I want to just say every student's situation is different without pulling up your student's information. I would highly encourage them to reach out to their student financial service counselor and to talk through that. But in order to receive the merit scholarships and any need-based scholarships, the student has to be full-time. So that includes 12 hours. And so if the student is not currently at that 12 credit enrollment threshold for the spring term, they would not receive any of their merit scholarships. So I would again highly encourage them to reach out to their either their academic advisors, they are aware of that requirement, or also to their student financial service counselor.
Thank you. Okay, yep. It looks like that is the last question in our Q&A. I'm just scrolling through to see if I missed anything. So yeah, that looks like that was the last question. So I would like to thank our wonderful panelists for taking the time to share such wonderful information that will help our students and families. I want to also thank all of our viewers, all the students and families that came on with us tonight. And definitely a shout out to our tech team that we couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much. Again, I just want to remind you all that if you have any questions, please call the Success Center at 402-280-1212 or email success@creighton.edu. I'd also like to remind you of our next upcoming Bluejay Family Live panel and remind you to register for that. That's going to be on Tuesday, January 27th at 8 p.m. And the focus of that live panel will be helping seniors prepare for graduation. So if you're a senior or a parent or family of a senior, this will be wonderful information, a lot of logistical stuff about graduation. So you'll definitely want to participate in that live panel. As a reminder, again, we will post this recording in the Bluejay Family Portal. So if you wanted to watch again, especially to capture any of the important information about the academic success hubs and the time and the location, and also the very important information about the student financial aid counselors with their contact information and names, you can get that on the live recording that'll be posted to the portal in the next couple days. But just thank you again, panelists and guests, for being with us, and go Blue Jays.